Katy Perry has become an internet laughingstock post Blue Origin, but only true stars demand this much attention. Okay, Variety, what in the cope kind of headline is this? It's okay, they actually make a good point in a sec. So, pretty much ever since the public found out Katy Perry would be once again working with Dr. Luke on her album 143, anytime she's in the spotlight and receiving any kind of media attention, the general public, sorry, it is funny, takes to the internet to absolutely flame her ass. Some would say her downfall was marked by her decision to work with the disgraced but I've been thinking about it for a few weeks, and I think it goes back to like Swish Swish, that general time period, if that's what the song was called. I think it was.
And then there's Katy Perry. Despite all her best efforts, she just seems to keep falling flat on her face.
Swish, swish, swish.
But like, I don't know. I don't really remember, because it was her first, if I recall correctly, hit or miss that mostly missed.
Don't be trying to double back, I already despise you.
After that, the decline was relatively slow. She was still out and about, working on American Idol and becoming a viral meme on Twitter back when people still enjoyed Twitter. She was releasing music, but it never really hit the main stage, that is, the retention of us earthly citizens on a larger scale. There's quietly flopping, and then there's crashing and burning for everyone to watch. Downhill since the mid-2010s, when it became apparent she couldn't keep up with the times, but straight up tragic ever since 143. If you weren't born or hadn't yet gained consciousness by 2010, you cannot grasp just how, not to repeat myself, but it's truly a tragedy. It's a travesty. It's tragic to have been around at the time when Katy Perry was absolutely dominating the pop scene. Her music was inescapable. She had number one after number one, and they stayed in their spots for like long periods of time. And everyone was singing Katy Perry. Teenage Dream, the single, genuinely has such a soft spot in my heart and just reminds me of that time. Those opening notes could sincerely wake me from a 6-month-long coma. And I still listen to that album frequently 15 years later. Last Friday Night is often in my rotation, even though I'm not going to no crazy freaky parties with threesomes? With threesomes and law breaking. Threesomes? What is that? That's a hate crime against the number 3. And not the same album, but Dark Horse is a banger. And I will not be told otherwise. Your arguments and your criticisms will fall on deaf ears, I'm afraid. And remembering that time to flash forward to now, when she's become a laughing stock and the go-to punching bag in the pop world, it's just... If you had told us how hard she would fall off 15 years ago, I would not have believed you. Someone would, I'm sure, because once you reach the tippity top, you know. But I think many people would have been like, the iconic Katy Perry is the most hated woman on the internet in 2025. Get out of town. Woman's World marks the beginning of the tomato throwing. I already discussed that whole album and working with Dr. Luke in my 143 reaction video, I believe, if you'd like to go watch it. So I won't beat a dead horse and revisit old talking points, but that was only last year, 2024. It hasn't been long enough for people to forget or just get over those antics. And here she goes again with this stupid space explorer shit. The exploration in question was quicker than a DoorDash order, by the way. Quicker than a dump after a big breakfast. Quicker than busting a nut, if you're lucky. Outlets that were really pushing this so-called moment in feminism, with all the women going up into space, wanted us to be on board so bad. They really wanted us to think this was a win for the ladies, and this was a great, joyous, historical moment. Girl power. And, as so many others have already said, it's so beyond tone deaf. The actual event itself was always going to piss people off because of when it's happening. You know, I often mark COVID as the huge crack in the glass of celebrity worship, and people collectively started realizing how dumb and lame and out of touch these people are, and it's only gotten worse. for the celebrities. Since then, now more than ever, normal people are so blatantly aware of wealth disparity. Most people in the States live paycheck to paycheck, while these celebrities flaunt their wealth every which way. Even when they're trying to look like they care by working with charity organizations, they show their asses by asking us to donate instead of letting go of their own millions. And it's like, bitch, you're the rich one. You donate. I have to decide between keeping my kids fed or keeping the electricity on. I don't have kids. It's just an example. A real one that I'm sure you could find if you literally just walked outside and spit in any general direction, because it's everywhere. Class struggle is everywhere. So people were never going to be excited to see these rich people pay more than the rest of us could ever even imagine seeing in our lifetime to go into space for a couple of minutes. Personally, I think it would have blown over like all the other flaunts of wealth that we see online. Like, yes, celebrity culture has drastically shifted, but they'll always have their fans, and people will engage with their rich person content as well as that of influencers. No matter what they do, people will be annoyed for like a week and then just move on to the next thing, and it just goes round and round and round. Such is the internet. But the way these women talked about it made it worse for themselves than it originally ever needed to be.
Because we'd been asking her to sing all the time, and she wouldn't. And then, because everybody said, sing Roar, sing Fireworks, and she said, it's not about me. I wanted to talk about the world.
Wow. I feel super connected to love. So connected to love. I think this experience has shown me you never know how much love is inside of you, like how much love you have to give, and how loved you are until the day you launch.
Why else was that important to bring it?
Daisies are common flowers, but they grow through any condition. They grow through cement, they go through cracks, they go through walls. They are resilient, they are powerful, they are strong, they are everywhere. Flowers are, to me, God's smile, but it's also a reminder of our beautiful earth and the flowers here and God's smile and the beautiful magic that is everywhere, all around us.
Like, what are you talking about right now, Skank? What? The bit about Katy Perry talking about bringing the daisy up with her and what a daisy means to her is sweet, and she should have just kept it to that and shut up about literally anything else. Why are you giving me a speech about being so connected to love when the world is on fire and everything sucks? You know, how is this a girl power moment when the US is trying to strip women of our rights as we speak? Why don't you bring attention to that? Why don't you kick up a fuss about that, Katie? Catherine Hudson, you know, for your daughter who will have to live the rest of her life in the consequences of what's happening right now. Oh, wait, we can probably guess why. Have you heard of the flop to fascist pipeline? That's all I'm gonna say about that. And I find it funny that she's allegedly crying on stage as a very obvious manipulation play to get people to feel bad for her. I clocked that the second that I read it. I was like, she's performing. She wants people to feel bad. She wants us to know that she sees it, and it's getting to her because she's a person just like the rest of us. And now, some of the videos coming out of Katy's tour that I didn't even know was happening, mind you, look really goofy. And I saw someone point out the parallels between her tour and other artists' concerts. This is on top of the allegedly AI background. What are we doing, ladies? Which is on top of the fact many people were saying 143 lacked creativity and heart and was just a desperate attempt at becoming one of the pop girlies again, which people said could have been the driving factor behind working with Dr. Luke again. And it makes sense. He produced her biggest stuff. I see the line that she drew. But what she fails to understand as she chases her peak that will never come again is that what worked 15 years ago isn't necessarily going to work today. Genuinely, it's sad to witness, but I also don't really feel bad for a rich conservative, so yeah. Katy Perry knows how to get the people's attention. It's just not in a positive way, and not in a way that any of us even enjoy anymore. Like, people are sick of her. They say there's no such thing as bad press, but there's gotta be a line somewhere. Her problem isn't necessarily that she lacks longevity in a very, bare bones sense of the word. Someone talented at getting people talking doesn't just lose it. It's the fact that her craft has taken a back seat in the name of achieving fame, and it shows. Taylor Swift and Lady Gaga have staying power because they are obviously still passionate about their work and are genuine creatives. They know how to tell stories through their art and put on a performance, as well as keep eyes on their current and next moves. They know how to get people talking, but they also actually care about the work that they're putting out. You see, they have a likability factor as well that Katy just doesn't. Why am I calling her Katy? That's too... Katy. Which isn't really to say I think they're stellar people, because at the end of the day, they're still wealthy celebrities. But they are better at image control, and I think all of these play a factor in whether the public accepts or shuns you. I don't really know how to end this video. I'm just looking forward to how she decides to piss everybody off next. Baby, you're a firework.